unveiling treasures from history, where every coin tells a story. This is Rare Coins.
The war was over. America was rebuilding, factories were booming, and a small, silver-colored coin quietly rolled out of the San Francisco Mint. The 1948 Jefferson Nickel. It looked ordinary, just 5 cents worth of metal. But some of these nickels now sell for $12,800, $4,300, $6,500, even $19,200. Who would have thought that the change in your grandparents' pocket could turn into a small fortune today? Support our effort. Subscribe, like, and share so we can keep bringing you more hidden treasure, stories, and help you uncover the next valuable coin hiding in plain sight. Now, let's journey back to 1948, a year of change and hope. Televisions were appearing in American homes. The Marshall Plan was helping rebuild Europe. And in the minting world, the Jefferson Nickel was returning to its classic copper-nickel alloy after the wartime silver years. Each 1948 nickel was struck from a mix of 75% copper and 25% nickel, weighing 5 grams, with a smooth edge and the familiar portrait of Thomas Jefferson, designed by Felix Schlag. But the difference wasn't in what it looked like. It was in how perfect some were struck. Over 11 million were minted at San Francisco, but only a few came off the dies flawlessly. Sharp steps on Monticello, mirror-like surfaces, and untouched luster. Those are the nickels that send collectors' hearts racing. Ordinary circulated ones, worth maybe a few cents. But when you hit that MS67 full steps grade, that's when prices skyrocket. One immaculate 1948 with perfect full steps sold for $12,800. Another pristine beauty fetched $14,300. A deep luster gem went for $16,500. And the current record holder hit $19,200 at heritage auctions. All for a coin most people never looked at twice. So what makes these high grades so rare? It's the steps on Monticello. Collectors prize full steps. Nickels, meaning you can clearly count every line on the building's staircase. Most coins show mushy details or weak strikes, especially from San Francisco that year. But those perfect crisp steps, they separate a common nickel from a museum quality piece. And then come the errors, the little minting quirks that make certain coins famous. Some 1948 nickels show repunched mint marks, where the S was stamped twice. Others have die cracks running through Jefferson's portrait, or even off-center strikes that reveal the blank edge of the plancher. Minor examples bring 50, 150, but dramatic errors, double strikes, major off-centers or die breaks, can go for $500 to $200 depending on condition. Beyond the technicals, the 1948 nickel carries history in its metal. It marked America's transition from war to peace. No more silver in nickels. No more rationing, just a nation ready to move forward. It's a coin that quietly reflects that optimism. Now imagine finding one. You open an old coin jar that's been in your family for decades. Among the dull modern coins, something catches your eye. A soft grey tone, older style lettering. You flip it over. S mint mark under Monticello. It's a 1948 Jefferson Nickel. You tilt it in the light. The steps are sharp, the surface is clean. You send it for grading, and weeks later it comes back MS67 full steps. At auction, the bids climb. $5,000, $8,000, $12,000, sold for $16,500. So how can you find one today? Start with bankrolls, estate sales, or even old coffee cans of change. Collectors often overlook Jefferson Nickels, making them one of the best hunting grounds for hidden gems. Search carefully with a magnifier. Focus on the steps, the strike quality, and the mint mark. San Francisco coins will have that tiny S below Monticello. Avoid cleaned or polished nickels. They lose collector value instantly. When you find a potential treasure, protect it right away. Use cotton gloves. Handle only by the edges, and place it in a 2x2 holder or capsule. For grading, submit to PCGS or NGC. Only certified grades can command those 4- and 5-figure prices. Selling depends on what you've got. If it's lightly circulated or a simple repunched mint mark, eBay or Facebook coin groups work fine. But if it's a top-grade MS67 or a dramatic mint error, your best bet is a major auction house like Heritage, Stack's Bowers, or Great Collections, where serious collectors battle it out. Every Jefferson nickel tells a story. And the 1948S tells one of craftsmanship, rarity, and timing. It's not silver, it's not gold, but it's living history in your palm. Struck in a year when America's coins returned to normal, but perfection still slipped through the cracks. So next time you see a nickel that looks a little older, don't let it pass. Flip it. Check for that S. Look at the steps, because somewhere out there, one of those grey, unassuming nickels struck. 75 years ago in San Francisco, could still be waiting to turn your pocket change into 19200. That's the magic of collecting, finding the extraordinary in the ordinary. Keep searching, keep learning, and never underestimate what a 5-cent coin might be worth. The war had ended. Soldiers were coming home. America was rebuilding, and so was the US Mint. That year in Denver, the first post-war Jefferson Nickels rolled off the presses. No silver, no rationed metal, just the return of pure copper-nickel alloy. And today, one of those same nickels, the 1946D Jefferson Nickel, has sold for $11,150, another for $13,900, one for $15,200, and the record breaker reached $18,600, all from a coin worth just 5 cents at the time. Support our effort, subscribe, like and share so we can keep uncovering more amazing coin stories and help you find the treasures hiding in your own pocket change. The 1946D nickel marks a turning point in American coinage. From 1942 to 1945, nickels were made with 35% silver to save copper for the war effort. But in 1946, that silver composition was gone. The mint went back to the traditional 75% copper and 25% nickel. And Denver took charge, minting over 45 million coins with the small D mint mark on the reverse. Most of these coins were struck fast and in bulk, meant for daily use, not perfection. That's why most 1946D nickels today are scratched, worn, or softly struck. But every so often, a few came out flawless. Razor-sharp details, blazing luster, and fully defined steps on Monticello. Those are the coins that make collectors go wild. A pristine 1946D, graded MS67 full steps sold for $11,750. Another equally stunning gem hit $13,900. A beautifully toned specimen fetched $15,200. And the current auction record stands at an incredible $18,600, all for a 5-cent coin struck nearly 8 decades ago. What makes them so rare? It's all about strike quality. Denver's presses in 1946 sometimes failed to transfer full detail onto the coin, especially on Monticello's steps. Only a few lucky strikes had crisp, unbroken lines across all 6 steps. Those are labeled full steps, and they can multiply a coin's value by hundreds or even thousands. And then come the errors, the fascinating quirks of minting, that turn an ordinary nickel into a collector's dream. Some 1946D nickels show repunched mint marks, where the D was accidentally struck twice. Others feature die cracks, small raised lines caused by aging dies, or off-center strikes that give the coin a dramatic, misaligned look. Minor errors can bring $75 to $200, but dramatic ones, like double strikes or major off-centers, have sold for $800 to $200. Beyond the metal and mint marks, the 1946D nickel tells a deeper story. It's a piece of American recovery, a coin that marked the return to peace and prosperity after years of war. Factories that once built tanks were now minting coins. The war was over, but the spirit of craftsmanship was just beginning again. Imagine this. You're going through a jar of old coins passed down from your grandfather. Among the nickels, you spot one with a faint D under Monticello. It's a 1946. You tilt it toward the light, sharp detail, glowing surfaces, every line on the steps clear as day. You send it for grading, and it comes back MS67 full steps. Weeks later, it sells for $15,200 at auction. That's the power of a coin that almost everyone else would have spent without a second thought. So how do you find one? Start with bankrolls, estate collections, or coin shows. Focus on the reverse. Monticello's steps tell the story. If they're clear and uninterrupted, you've got something special. Avoid cleaned coins or those with dull grey surfaces. A natural, bright nickel luster is key. Handle your finds carefully. Never touch the face, only the edges. Store them in soft flips or hard capsules. If you think your coin could hit a top grade, send it to PCGS or NGC for certification. A small grading fee could unlock a 5-figure payout if your Nickel is one of those rare high-grade survivors. For selling, match your market to your find. Common coins, eBay or Facebook groups are great. High-grade or rare errors, take them to heritage auctions, Stax Bowers or great collections, where bidding wars can push prices sky high. Every 1946D, Jefferson Nickel holds a bit of history, a piece of post-war America in the palm of your hand. It's the first year back to normalcy, but also a year where perfection was almost impossible. And that's what makes the perfect ones so valuable. So next time you find an old nickel in your change, don't brush it off. Flip it, check for that small D, and look closely at Monticello's steps. Because that simple 5-cent coin from 1946 might just turn out to be the next $18,600 treasure. Coins like these remind us that history doesn't always shine in gold or silver, and sometimes it glows in nickel and copper. Keep your eyes open, your curiosity alive, and your hands steady, because your next incredible discovery could already be resting in your pocket. The nation was booming again, cars on the road, televisions in living rooms, and a new kind of America taking shape. And in Denver, a 5-cent coin rolled out that seemed ordinary. But decades later, the 1949 Jefferson Nickel would shock collectors with prices hitting $12,400, $14,900, $16,800, and even $18,750. A 5-cent coin turned into a 4-figure fortune. Support our effort. Subscribe, like, and share so we can keep bringing you more incredible stories of rare coins hiding in everyday change. Now let's rewind the story. In 1949, Denver struck just over 36 million nickels, all with that small D mint mark below Monticello on the reverse. They were made of the standard post-war mix, 75% copper, 25% nickel, weighing exactly 5 grams. It was the first full production year after the wartime silver nickels, and these coins symbolized stability. America was back on its feet. Most of the 1949 D nickels you'll see today are worn, dull, and barely worth face value. But the secret lies in strike quality. Only a handful came off the dies sharp enough to show the full steps on Monticello, every line crisp and unbroken. Those are the dream coins. A blazing MS-67 full steps example once brought $12,400. Another, perfectly struck with shimmering luster, sold for $42,900. A beautifully toned gem hit $16,800, and the record sale at Heritage reached $18,650, all for a 5-cent coin that most people ignored. The difference between a $5 coin and a $15,000 coin, it's in those 6 steps on Monticello. If all steps are visible and clean, collectors go wild. Denver nickels from the late 40s often suffered from weak strikes, meaning most coins lost detail, right where it mattered. That's why the few with full steps are considered elite. But it's not just about perfect strikes. The 1949 D series also has its share of mint errors and varieties. One of the most famous is the repunched mint mark, where the D was punched twice, leaving a visible shadow beneath the main letter. Even minor examples can fetch $75 to $200, while dramatic ones can reach $800 to $1,500 in high grades. There are also die cracks, off-center strikes, and rare lamination errors, each turning an ordinary nickel into something truly collectible. Now imagine this. You're at a coin show, flipping through a dealer's bargain bin. You spot an old bright nickel, 1949, with a D under Monticello. You tilt it under the light. The steps are crisp. The luster looks untouched. You buy it for $2, send it to PCGS, and a few weeks later it grades MS-67 full steps. At auction, it sells for $14,000 to $900. That's how life-changing a single coin can be. Let's talk history for a moment. 1949 was the year of recovery and innovation. The first Polaroid camera hit the market. The housing boom exploded across America. And the Jefferson Nickel, still relatively new at the time, was becoming the face of the post-war economy. Each coin minted that year carries that spirit of a nation moving forward. When hunting for 1949 D nickels, start with old coin jars or estate collections. Many families saved pre-60 coins without realizing their future potential. Use a 10x magnifier and strong lighting to inspect. Monticello steps. It's the make or break feature. If you spot clear, unbroken lines, no hits, and bright luster, you may have a sleeper treasure on your hands. Keep your finds safe. Never clean or polish them. that destroys their natural mint surface and kills the value instantly. Handle coins only by the edges and store them in soft flips or hard plastic capsules. If you believe you've found a top-grade example, send it to PCGS or NGC for professional grading. Only then can you tap into those 4- and 5-figure markets. When it comes time to sell, match your platform to your coin. Circulated or lightly worn nickels do fine on eBay or Facebook Marketplace, but true high-grade full steps coins belong at Heritage, Stack's Bowers, or Great Collections. Those venues attract serious collectors willing to bid big. Every Jefferson nickel tells a quiet story, but the 1949D tells one of perfection achieved by accident. A handful of coins, perfectly struck, perfectly preserved, surviving untouched for more than 70 years. It's a reminder that true rarity isn't about low mintage, it's about flawless survival. So next time you spot a 1940s nickel in your change or your old collection, take a closer look. Flip it. Check for the D. Study the steps on Monticello, because one of those forgotten nickels, maybe sitting right now in a drawer or a coin jar, could be worth up to $18,750. That's the thrill of coin hunting, turning curiosity into discovery, and discovery into history you can hold in your hand. Keep searching, keep learning, and never underestimate the value of the coins you already own. One day, your 5-cent find might just become your next 5-figure treasure. A year of change, recovery, and quiet miracles. In San Francisco, the mint was producing its final Jefferson Nickels of the decade, coins that looked ordinary but would someday shock collectors. The 1949 Jefferson Nickel, born in that fog-covered city, would go on to sell for $12,600, another for $14,700, one for $16,400, and the finest ever certified reached $18,950. A 5-cent piece turned into a small fortune. Support our effort. Subscribe, like, and share so we can keep bringing you more hidden treasure, stories, and help you find the next rare coin waiting in your own change. Now, back to that moment in 1949. America was booming again. The war was over. Optimism was everywhere. And the San Francisco Mint struck just 9.7 million nickels that year. That's a small number by modern standards. Each coin weighed 5 grams, made of 75% copper and 25% nickel, featuring Felix Schlag's portrait of Thomas Jefferson and his home, Monticello, on the back. Most of these nickels were lightly struck. San Francisco dies in '49 had already worn down, producing soft details and blurry steps on Monticello. That's why most 1949 nickels look flat, and why the few with sharp, complete steps became legendary. They're known as full steps nickels, and that designation can multiply a coin's value 100-fold. A blazing MS-67 full steps, 1949 sold for $12,600. Another gem with a mirror-like surface hit $14,700. A sharply detailed beauty went for $16,400, and the record holder, a breathtaking specimen with glass-smooth luster, brought $18,950 at Heritage auctions, all for a coin that once jingled unnoticed in a 1940s pocket. But beyond perfection, the 1949 hides surprises. There are repunched mint marks, where the S was stamped twice, leaving a ghost shadow that collectors adore. Small die cracks can form near Jefferson's jaw or Monticello's dome, creating raised lines worth $50 to $150. More dramatic errors, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, or double strikes have fetched $400 to $1,200 depending on grade and visibility. Picture this. You're sorting through an old roll of nickels inherited from a family member. Most are dull, grey, worn from decades of circulation. Then one coin catches the light differently. The date reads 1949. Flip it. There's an S below Monticello. You tilt it, and the steps shine, perfectly struck. Line after line, unbroken. You send it to PCGS. Weeks later, it comes back MS-67 full steps. You put it up for auction. The bids climb past $16,000. Not bad for a 5-cent find. The story of this coin mirrors the story of post-war America itself. Factories once used for weapons were now producing consumer goods. People were saving for homes, raising families, watching baseball, and collecting pocket change without realizing the future value it held. The 1949 Jefferson Nickel carries that moment, a simple coin representing craftsmanship, precision, and recovery. If you want to hunt one yourself, start small. Check bankrolls, flea market coin lots, or old family jars. Use a bright LED light and a magnifier to inspect Monticello's steps. If you can count all 6 clearly, you might have struck gold, or in this case, nickel. Avoid cleaned coins or ones with dull grey surfaces. Collectors pay for originality, not polish. Once you've got a promising piece, protect it. Hold it only by the edges, slip it into a soft flip or airtight capsule, and consider sending it to NGC or PCGS for professional grading. Those little labels mean everything when it's time to sell. Selling depends on what you've got. Average examples do fine on eBay or Facebook Marketplace, but certified full steps coins belong at Heritage, Stack's Bowers, or Great Collections, the places where bidding wars turn 5-cent coins into 5-figure headlines. The beauty of the 1949S. Jefferson Nickel isn't just its metal or mint mark, it's what it represents. Perfection born from imperfection, rarity born from routine. It's proof that history still lives in your change. So next time you spot a worn nickel with an S under Monticello, don't ignore it. Flip it, study the steps, because one of those forgotten coins could still be the next. 18th century 350 treasure hiding in plain sight. Coins like this remind us that the smallest details, a mint mark, a clean step, a careful eye, can turn pocket change into history you can hold in your hand. Keep searching, stay curious, and remember, the next great discovery might already be sitting right there in your own coin jar.